So in the last video, we had set up the layout of our profile tab, which is the Me tab here. In this video, let's go ahead and set up the code required for the parts to work. So let's begin. I just want to start by showing you the final product that we'll have at the end of this video. So coming to the Me tab, you can see that it's trying to load a profile picture. It loads a custom profile picture of the user. The user's name and the user's handle is showing up from the database. We can select the image, view the picture, it will show us the bigger picture. You can select the image, click on photos, select a different photo and upload it. It displays the image there and it shows that it's uploading, and the image will upload into our database and storage. So let's start with the logout button. Let's create an action for the logout button and call it did tap logout of type action connected. We'll basically sign the user out from the Firebase authentication system and also move the user back to the welcome screen. So for that, let's first import Firebase auth. The code we'll need is try firauth.auth.signout. Then we need to move the user back to the welcome screen. For that, we'll create a reference to the main storyboard of type UI storyboard. And we'll say name will be main and bundle is nil. Then let's create a reference to the welcome storyboard. Let's call it welcome view controller. UI view controller is equal to main storyboard dot instantiate view controller with identifier. Identifier name will be welcome view controller. Then we do self.present view controller. Pass in the welcome view controller that we just created. Animation will be true and we don't need a completion callback, so we'll call that nil. Come here to the welcome view controller and give it a storyboard ID of welcome view controller. That's the storyboard ID that we passed in here. And let's run this, it should work. Coming to the Me tab, let's tap logout. And there we're taken to the home screen and the user is logged out. We can see that by the permission denied message over here. Next, what we do is we'll get the data of the user from the database and display his name, handle and profile picture, and also the about data of the user if the user has stored any data. So let's begin. For that, we'll first import Firebase database and import Firebase storage. Let's create outlets for these things. So first control drag from the profile picture. Let's call this profile picture. The next will be the name. Handle. And the about field. Let's create a variable called logged in user of type any object. In this we'll store the logged in user once the page loads. Also, let's create a reference to our database and our Firebase storage. So fir database.database.reference var storage ref is equal to fir storage.storage.reference. In the view did load, let's store the currently logged in user into our variable that we created. This self.loggedInUser is equal to firauth.auth.current user. And let's get the data from the database. Make this slightly bigger and say self.databaseref.child, go under the user profiles node, .child, go under the self.loggedinuser.uid, .observe single event of type value, and in the with block it says snapshot of type fir data snapshot. In the code, let's set self.name.text is equal to snapshot.value name dot as string, and self dot handle dot text equal to snapshot dot value handle as string. Now initially the user will not have an about data, so we'll say if snapshot dot value about not equal to nil, then we'll set the about text equal to the snapshot dot value about as string. Otherwise, we'll leave the data as a default about text. Also, in the beginning, the user will not have a profile picture, so we'll check if snapshot dot value profile pic is not equal to nil. Only then set it. We'll say let database profile pic equal to snapshot dot value profile pic as string, and we'll say let data equal to ns data contents of URL. We'll say ns URL from string, and we'll pass in database profile picture. Because the URL is stored in the database as a string, so we get it as a string and then we convert it back into ns data by using this line of code over here. We have to force unwrap the profile pic. Then we'll say self.set profile picture self.profile picture, and we'll say image to set UI image of type data, and we'll pass the data in. We have to still create the set profile picture function, so let's create that. Let's come here to the bottom and let's say internal function. Since we only want this function to be accessed from inside the class, set profile picture, and the first thing we'll say is pass the image view where you want to set the picture, and secondly pass the image that you want to set. So that will be of type UI image. Then we'll say image view dot layer dot corner radius equal to 10, so that we can put a corner radius to it. We'll say image view dot layer dot border color equal to UI color dot white color dot CG color to give it a white border, and we'll say image view dot layer dot mask to bounds equal to true, and we'll say image view dot image equal to, and finally pass it the image to set. So coming back here, we've passed in the UI image view here, we passed in the UI image data here, and we need to just force unwrap this as well. So this will set the profile picture for us. Before we try this out, I just want to show you our database once. Coming to our database, you can see we've gone under the user profiles tab. Under that, we've gone to the user IDs tab to get the user's name and handle. As of now, we do not have an about node or a profile pic node because we haven't uploaded that data to the database. Once we do that, we'll be able to see those as well. So let's just run this out. We should at least see the user's name and the handle coming up. Going to the Me tab, you can see that the name of the user has come up and the handle has come up. Now let's add the code required for the user to select a profile picture. We'll look for a tab gesture recognizer here, drag it onto the profile picture. From the tab gesture recognizer, control drag to create an action. Select action of type UI tab gesture recognizer and we'll say did tab profile picture. Here we'll basically create an action sheet which will allow the user to either view the picture, select the picture from the photo gallery, or select the picture using the camera. So let's first create an action sheet. We'll say let my action sheet equal to UI alert controller. We give it a title of profile picture. We'll say message will be select and preferred style will be UI alert controller style. Dot action sheet. Then we have to set up the options that we need. So we'll say let view picture equal to UI alert action. Title will be view picture. Style will be default. And we'll call this action. And in that we'll say let image view equal to sender.view as UI image view. And we'll say let new image view, which will be the bigger profile picture, equal to UI image view of type image view dot image. And we'll say new image view dot frame is equal to self dot view dot frame. It will equal to the size of the me view controller. Then we say new image view dot background color equal to UI color dot black color, and the content mode, which will be equal to scale aspect fit. We'll say new image view dot user interaction enabled equal to true, so that we can dismiss the image when the user taps it. For that we'll say let tap equal to UI tap gesture recognizer. Target will be self, action will be selector, self dot dismiss full screen image. We have to set this up, and we'll say new image view dot add gesture recognizer, and we'll say tap. We'll also add the subview to the view. So we'll say self dot view dot add subviews, and we'll add the new image view. Now we have to set up the function dismiss full screen image. So we'll say function dismiss full screen image. That will say sender will be of type UI type gesture recognizer, and we'll say sender dot view dot remove from super view. This will remove the larger image from the view. Now let's also set up the other options, which is let photo gallery equal to UI alert action. Call this one photos. Type will be default again. Action, and in the code we'll say if UI image picker controller dot is source type available. Source type will be saved photos album. Now what we need to do over here before we do this is we need to add the UI image picker controller delegate and the UI navigation controller delegate for this to work. So let's do that. We'll say UI image picker controller delegate and UI navigation controller delegate. We'll also create a variable for the image picker. So let's call that image picker is equal to UI image picker controller. Coming back here, you don't need this here. Come here, we say self.imagePicker.delegate equal to self, and we'll say self.imagePicker.sourceType is equal to UI image picker controller source dot saved photos album, and we say self.imagePicker dot allows editing equal to true in case we want to allow the user to edit the image. Then we need to just show the image picker, so which is self.present view controller, and that we'll say self.image picker. Animation will be true and completion callback will be nil. And lastly, we'll add the camera option, which will be let camera equal to UI alert action. Title will be camera. Style will again be default, and handler will be action. And in the code, we'll say if UI image picker controller dot is source type available dot camera self dot image picker dot delegate equal to self dot image picker dot source type equal to UI image picker controller source type dot camera, and self dot image picker dot allow editing equal to true. And again, we need to show the image picker, which is self dot present view controller self dot image picker. Animation will be true and completion will be nil. Now that the options are set up, and again we don't need this source type over here, we need to just add these options to the action sheet and show the action sheet, which is my action sheet dot add action, and we'll add view picture. Similarly, my action sheet dot add action will be photo gallery, and my action sheet dot add action will be camera. We also need to add a cancel action, so let's do that. My action sheet dot add action, we'll say UI alert action of type, we'll say cancel. Style will be cancel, and handler will be nil. And let's present the action sheet. We'll say my action sheet animation true and completion nil. So let's try this out. It should work. Going to the Me tab, let's tap the image, and there we have the action sheet coming up. Profile picture, select, it says view picture, let's view it. There the bigger pictures come up. Tapping it dismisses the image. If you go to photos, it brings up the photo gallery. Let's select an image, choose it. As you can see, the image is not getting updated over here because we have one last function to set up, which is basically called after the image is selected. Also, this camera action will not work in the simulator, it will only work on an actual device. Let's add the last function that we require. This is basically the did finish picking image method of the image picker controller. So it's a function image picker controller did finish picking image. Inside this, we'll call the method that we had created set profile picture, and in that we'll add self.profile picture as the image view, and the image to set will be the image that is picked. What we'll also do is we'll upload this image to our Firebase storage and save the image URL in our database. So let's do that. Since the image is a UI image, we have to first convert it into metadata. So let's do that. We'll say if let image data of type ns data equal to UI image PNG representation self.profilepicture.image. Force unwrap that. Let's create a reference to our profile picture node. So let's say let profile pic storage ref equal to storage ref, which was the variable we created in the beginning, dot child. Go under the user profiles tab. Inside that, go under the self.loggedin user .uid tab, and under that store it under profile pic. Then just upload the image. Say let upload task is equal to profile pic storage ref dot put data of type image data. Inside that metadata nil, metadata comma error in. If error in uploading is equal to nil, store the download URL of the image. And save the URL in the database. So we'll again call our database ref variable that we created in the beginning. Go under the child's node. Under that we'll say child self.loggedin user .uid .child. We'll go to profile pic, set value, we'll say download URL and convert that to an absolute string. Else if there was an error, we'll just print the error in our console for now using localized description. Also, to indicate that the image is being uploaded or added, we'll add an activity indicator view on top of this. We'll add the constraints. We'll say center horizontally. Create an outlet for this. Call it image loader. Self.image loader dot start animating, and at the bottom we'll say self.image loader dot stop animating. Just add two values to it, which is call it large white. Give it a color of blue, and behavior will select animating and hides when stopped. And here at the bottom we'll put self.imageloader.stop animating after the upload task is complete. And I realized that we have to add one more line of code here, which is self.dismiss view controller animated true with a callback of nil. We should have added this earlier. After the user selects the image, automatically that image window should close and it should come back to a Me tab. So this is what helps us with that. And let's finish up the image loader by giving it a different color. Let's make it large white and give it a color of blue. And also we'll add one more property to it, which is animating and hides when stopped. Now we're good to go. Let's run this out and try it. Coming to the Me tab, let's click on the image. First, let's see view picture as. That is working. Let's select photos now. Let's select this photo. Click on choose. The window closes, the image is set, and as you can see, the image is currently being uploaded and the image is uploaded. Let's go check in our database and storage if we have the image there. Coming here, we can see that the profile picture URL has come in here, and let's go into storage. We have the user profiles tab like we set up, and under that the user's ID, and inside that we have the profile picture which is uploaded, and it's a high resolution profile picture as you can see. Even though I was trying to keep this video short, but I've realized that the video has become quite long. There are still more parts to cover about the profile tab. I'm thinking I'll cover them in the next video so that you guys can at least try this out till then. So in the next video, we'll cover up the About tab, the About field, and how to use these tabs and show the user's tweets, media, and likes over here. And then we'll get on to the other parts of the application. Till then, you guys should try this out, and thank you once again for watching, and please like and subscribe.